when you live in this survival mode more and more, the anger inside you somehow it winds this spiral more and more, and at some point it's ready to unwind and unleash your creativity.
What do we need in our lives to persevere on our creative path? How do we keep going? And is it ever okay to stop? In the scheme of things, how crucial is our art anyway? We might not ever ask these questions under normal circumstances, but when big, unexpected changes occur in one's life, these questions, as well as their answers, can surface. Alex Parfenov is a brilliant videographer. For several years, he's been working with me and my team creating videos that tell inspirational stories of artists from all over the world. He also happens to live in Ukraine. The recent and ongoing invasion of his country has completely changed his life. Like so many Ukrainians, Alex has recently relocated and was still somehow able to find an internet connection. He shares with us the impact these recent events are having on himself, his family, and his friends, as well as the clarity he now has about the purpose, need, and ongoing viability of creativity in one's life. The calm vulnerability combined with the steady resolve of Alex's voice so moved me. It is simply a privilege to share this extraordinary conversation with you. Click on podcasts at Art2Life.com to see images of Alex, his family, and his homeland. In the show notes are links to his videography and ways you can help the people of Ukraine. Alex joins me now from an undisclosed town in western Ukraine. Welcome to Art2Life, a podcast for the creatively curious. My name is Nicholas Wilton, and each week I'll help you rediscover not just the art of your life, but the art in your life. Join me as we explore that perfect blue at twilight, the wild frontiers of art making, and the extraordinary joy of finding your way as you go. So Alex, thank you for being here, and how are you doing?
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me. Well, now I'm relatively okay, much better. But when everything started on 24th of February, when first rockets hit Kiev at night, where we live, it was very scary. And like I hope nobody experienced anything like this in their life. We took like our two sleeping children and we escaped the city early morning to my parents' cottage just outside the city. Stayed there for a week, but when we had rocket flying above our heads, we were outside and rocket flew just over us. It was crazy, and we like laid down on the ground, and my younger daughter, who is 3, she kept like every time she heard some explosion very far away, she kept asking if she had to run and hide. And it's for parents, it's like,
that's so
heartbreaking.
That's so hard. But then you left. So where are you now?
Yeah, at first we returned to Kiev again, to our home, because we were closer to battlefield then, when Russians came closer and closer to the city. But we stayed home like 2 nights, and that was too much because we heard air alarms, sirens constantly, and they started to fire the city again. So now we are at western Ukraine, not far from Lviv, not far from Poland border.
And you're still your wife, and you have 2 daughters, 2 kids?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters, and 10 and 3 years old.
Oh, and are they still with you, or are they?
Yeah, they're still with me. They refuse to leave the country because men cannot exit the country now, and they refuse to leave without me. So we are here together now, and I think it was like a week after we left Kiev, then I started like to bring myself together, my mind, and I was completely wrecked at first.
Yeah, I mean, I just,
mental shock.
Yes, to just have your life.
You can't eat. First days we didn't want.
My God,
because your body start to function weirdly.
I mean, what's so terrifying, and I cannot imagine to just your normal life on Wednesday completely changes on a Thursday.
At first, you even can't remember what you were doing yesterday. What was your plans? It just seems so far away now, that peaceful time. And in this situation, I think for each parent, it's the most important thing is to get kids away from explosions, because it can harm their psyche and can lead to mental health problems in future.
Yeah,
they stay too long under these attacks.
The trauma, there's trauma.
The trauma. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So when you have kids, you do not own yourself anymore, and that's the trick. So you can't keep like creating, and can't keep doing what you did. You can't like think of anything else when you have family.
Yes. And your situation where your wife and children won't leave, is this the situation for many families, near the border, where they're close, but the families don't want to break up?
Yeah, I know a lot of families who broke up at the border, and but I know also a lot of families like mine who didn't want or couldn't, for some reasons, break up. Someone even returned to Kiev, but left the kids to some relatives. But had to return.
Most men 60 or younger are made to be available. When
we relocated, I registered at the local town where I like have my new living address registered in case they need me. So that's the story.
And is how you go from a normal life to being a videographer, an artist, and having a family and raising your children, and then a week or two later enlisting to fight and finding safety and all of these challenges. Are you able? It looks like from here, from the outside, that there is such a courageous willingness of the population, of the people of Ukraine, to fight for their homeland, right? How do you feel about walking more towards violence to defend and all that? Is it mixed for you? I just can't imagine.
People are united here as never before.
Yeah.
I remember in 2014 when the revolution was here, it was a similar feeling. We was like united. Everybody is a warrior, even if he's not at the battlefield. People volunteering. We raise an enormous amount of donations for our army now. It's unbelievable what people can do together. So everybody do their best to help the army, help the country in the manner he or she can. So like I'm thinking, I'm negotiation now to donate my drone and all the batteries. I have many batteries and the drone kit for the surveillance.
Oh,
Demand at the army. Yeah.
So I might have misheard, but were you saying that for your videography, you have a drone that you
Yeah,
use?
I have a drone and with 4 batteries. Yes, and now there is like a call for drone owners to donate.
I
So
see.
I plan to do this. Yeah. Yeah, we also raise the donations, and I have several friends who went to. It's called territory defense. It's like not the army yet, but they are armed. They have uniform, and they protect their local area where they live.
Mm-hmm.
I have many friends who. Someone don't have kids or family. Someone. Have their families in Poland already, and
Yes.
they went to territorial defense, and we helped them together with other friends. We helped them to get the ammunition because they give them only the weapons and some limited ammunition. So everybody tries to protect their friends as much as they can, help in this way. Yeah, so I think the country stands now as one and united, and it's a great feeling to be Ukrainian right now in this moment of history, and I'm proud of this. Yeah,
it's so evident. It's so inspiring. From the whole world sees this. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, like we say here, is that Ukraine defending the Europe and all the world now.
Yeah,
because for me, this war is a personal trauma too, because I was born in Russia and my parents from Russia, but I'm living in Ukraine since I was 2 years old. Nonetheless, I have relatives in Russia, and now everything is breaking. It's crazy because they have their like government TVs and propaganda that's telling lies, and they believe it, and it's very hard to communicate with them, and it's very painful.
So your relatives, you're in touch with them who are still in Russia, and they don't understand or believe your experience?
Well, they're very afraid for us, and they very kind, but they don't understand the reasons, and they don't feel the guilt that Russia do this to my country. Yeah, and so that's very hard, and it's very very hard for my parents who's been living in Ukraine for this more than 30 years now.
Yeah,
to realize that their motherland is doing this to us, their kids, and to their grandchildren.
Yes,
it's heartbreaking war, as I call it. Also,
it's just surviving this the challenges of the disconnection to family, of betrayal, of the violence. I don't know how I would. I mean, are you must be in a survival mode, in that all your, we talked a little bit about this, that you're an artist and probably incredibly sensitive human being, and you're a visual storyteller. Have you just gone into survival mode, or is there parts of you that are somehow remembering or documenting this, or is using creativity in any way, shape, or form here to help yourself? It's such a part of your life. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I want to remember I saw your recent post on Instagram. No artist tolerates reality, and I liked it very much. And want to say, creativity is fragile for sure. And for me too, I'm an introvert, and like many of creators. And first of all, human needs to fulfill safety and psychological needs. My first education is in marketing, so there is a Maslow motivation model. It's like pyramid, when at the bottom there is psychological safety needs, then belonging and love needs, etc. And then at the very top is self-actualization, aesthetic needs and cognitive needs. So creativity fell behind at first, but I like to think of it like a spring, like a spiral, that at first it unwinds and rattles and it's on the loose, but when you live in this survival mode more and more, the anger inside you somehow it winds this spiral more and more, and at some point it's ready to unwind and unleash your creativity. Because I'm starting to feel now, like 3 or 4 weeks has passed, I'm starting to feel that I'm thinking of how can I be useful? How can my creative skills be useful in this situation? And what can I do? So, and starting to think of future projects. And because war changes people. And what was important for me before 24th of February is a nonsense right now. Like the projects, like the movies. I'm into documentary filmmaking. And I had plans for like a documentary about football. I had scripts for short movies, a script for feature film, fictional, but now everything seems not such not important, but also many things seems not possible in reality. Because, for example, this feature script, it had a theater play of Anton Chekhov rehearsed inside this movie by the actors. So, but now, like everything concerning Russian, even classic culture, is I can't imagine if or when, if at all, our country can incorporate something from the Russian culture. But it's so it's hard to imagine this happening, because from one point of view, this is a classic culture, and they're not guilty in this. I mean, these classic authors, writers, and composers. But when Russian propaganda cover something, try to protect their choices using this classic culture, it's very hard.
Yes, it's being used.
It's being used. And even to the point that in my country, in Ukraine now, many theaters who has the name of Russian drama in the name for decades, for 60 years. Now they're removing this Russian drama from their name at this very time. And I think what Putin did is it's very, I can't even describe the horror and the damage he did to the Russian culture too, and to everything.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. You talk about Maslow's the motivational, that model, that the needs, the basic needs of safety and belonging. And, it's like you want your kids to be safe, and that then this cognitive aesthetic needs kind of, once you have those baselines, then there's possibility for, for making something, being creative and all that. It's like an icing on the cake, but there's this, you talked about the anger now, that now is coming, and that's almost like a fire. That it's interesting to me that can transcend some of those needs and skip it to go right into how can I fight this? What can I do? How can I serve? And that becomes creative. So it's a fire. It's the fire in you.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And when I'm thinking about how can I be useful, I have a camera with me, but I don't have a chance to shoot yet, because shooting video is pretty much forbidden now, unless you're official journalist with press markings. And
oh, really? Why is that?
Because people share on social media our military, our army positions, and the Russians can use this.
I see. Yes, of course.
Yeah, then they want to ban this on the level of law. Yeah, so they even doesn't let the car dash cameras to be installed now when you drive on the road. So, but I'm thinking about the post-war period, and I hope it's coming anytime soon, and that I can make some movie about the post-war life in Kiev and the people, how they're recovering, how they finding themselves in this new, because we all believe, Ukrainians, we all believe that after this will be a new age for Ukraine.
Yes.
It will be the new, even better Ukraine, and we are longing for it.
That there's this hope there and this tremendous unity that is going to birth a new era.
Yeah, we can't betray this in the end. So after our victory, we have to, we must do our best to build this country, to rebuild it, and to make it even better. That's our national idea now.
It seems like the will of the Ukrainian people, it's just, no matter what is occurring, there's such a confidence. It's so impressive, and that just never wavers. I've never seen anything. I've never experienced that or seen that.
I think that the revolution of 2014 was like small rehearsal for this. Yeah, and also the war at the east in Donbas region that started then by Russian occupation and annexation of Crimea, and then the invasion of Donbas. I think we were preparing all these 8 years for this,
right.
But
yes,
and nobody wanted to be talking about this, and nobody was believing, including myself, that this war will happen.
Yes, I mean, even when the buildup was happening, I was reading that people, like the day before, no one could believe that this would happen.
Yeah. And it was very scary, because it happened.
Yes.
And I know friends, creative friends. Like I have a friend who is a writer, and he was planning to release a book. It's science fiction, little bit like historical fiction, and but he stopped it, his release, and he told that after this happened, the war, I have to rewrite something, and now he is writing a new book about this war. He's collecting stories of people who is fleeing from already occupied regions. So I help him to find the stories. Yeah.
And so he's interviewing people or
he's interviewing by phone or by social media. He's collecting their messages, his own experience too. He's also in the West region now,
right,
with his family. So he's also took some time to be creative again, I guess.
Yeah. And you said you've been helping him. You're a storyteller in your work too. What are some of the stories that you've heard or that are particularly moving for you?
Yeah, we have relatives near the Kiev. It's the city of Irpin. I think it's been in the news too. It was very severely damaged by Russians, and it was occupied. And it's my wife's relatives, and we lost connection with them. There was no electricity, no gas, no secure network. Yeah, they spent 10 days in the basement. Their house windows were destroyed, doors were blew off, and by the shockwave. So they spent 10 days in the basement, and then they managed somehow to send us SMS to help them evacuate. But evacuation included walking for 4 kilometers on the occupied territory, avoiding Russian soldiers. Yeah. But at the end, they made it safely. They met our militaries who drew them, who offered them a ride a little bit, and that way they escaped. So and other stories like that, like my older daughter, she's a tennis player. She's been doing tennis for 6 years now, from the fourth age of fourth, and her coach also was under occupation, and he escaped, and he had Russian soldier pointed a gun at him, and he was driving under these checkpoints, Russian checkpoints. Yeah, but everything went good for him. But he told the stories, and I know other friends who saw how Russian killed people, like innocent people. Just they didn't like something.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, so not anybody got this and got away safely.
The story, the narrative, well, the truth of what's occurring, how do you explain this, or how do you tell this narrative to your children? How are you framing this?
I think it's what we do is it's important to be to speak, to tell the truth to your children, because you can't lie to them for long. So we are open, and we show them some cartoons that Ukrainian creators did about the situation. Like it's cartoon that show the Russian aggression, but in gentle way. With like children playing, with one child being Ukraine and other child being Russia. Like they play together and then they argue, etc. Yeah. So we tell The younger daughter, she don't understand
Of
a
course.
lot, but older, yeah, we're telling her truth. Yeah, we try to avoid showing her or telling some like cruel things and killings, but we tell them the situation as it is. I think it's important
Yes.
that we're on the same page.
Yes. And she can feel her parents, and that has to ring true. It has to be your actions and how you're being has to make sense. I would think she can just viscerally feel that.
Yeah, and turning back to creativity and the family, I know creators that pursue career over family. There is a lot of child-free young families now, on freelance professionals traveling, building their careers, who chose this life deliberately, and that's their choice. But I personally wouldn't trade the happiness of raising children and teaching them to be creative as I grow as a creative with them. It's very enjoyable for me when I show my older daughter Kate how to edit the video on the tablet. Yeah, we're editing together, cutting to the music, and yeah, I wouldn't. I might earn less and shoot less movies by raising children, but I know in the long run it will pay off and bring me more happiness than only better career would.
Yes, and don't.
Who knows? Maybe it will lead to some better career choices.
Well, and you're creating another creative, right? So your work will continue. Yeah. That's really beautiful. Mm-hmm. You had mentioned about how the projects you were doing before the invasion, and now they don't even seem relevant. I mean, how do you think this experience in the past month has changed you as an artist? Do you feel? Do you have a sense of that?
Well, I think that's what we creators need, is to find the strength to return to what we love and what we can do. Yeah, and that's the fact that inspiration comes as we work. So, in what I believe, like you can't sit and wait for inspiration, or wait for the shock and the initial shock. Yeah, you need to live this, but after time passes, you have to work, and later when your mind is settled down, you start to function as a creative little by little, but it's hard to begin, and I feel this myself. But now, as I started to make moves with my fingers on the timeline and the editing suite and looking at the visuals, you start to remember in yourself like pre-war person.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like instincts.
Yes, it's just been pushed down, and it's all there. And I agree. You know, the little bit you do leads to a bit more, which leads to a bit more. It's actually it's a pathway. You know.
Yeah, and when you think about this, and when you try to force it, it's hard. But when you do this little by little, maybe go for a walk, thinking about this situation from other angles, you start to have some ideas of how to be useful, what to do next. It's very important now to know that there will be this next, there will be this future. Crazy that we need to be telling ourselves this now. Yeah.
Well, no, it makes sense, and it's going to be it's a remaking right? It's a recalibration, a reset for an entire country.
Yeah.
And, what does this make possible is not a crazy question, because your career and your journey it's going to be so different now, and what you're going to make is going to be different, and it's super challenging, but from this time will come amazing work, I'm sure. The depth of the kind of work you're going to make. And, you talked about how some of the projects you were doing before just don't even seem important anymore, but I can imagine. I just am going to be really curious to see how the things that you make, the new things that you make because of all this.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. It's a new world that's coming, and yeah, it's hard to imagine now, but there will be new projects and new sense for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and thanks for your support. I think that we all need this now, the creators and everybody in this country.
I know that Ukraine is, they're pleading constantly for military support and no-fly zones and
all
that. But I mean, what seems to help you? Or, what do you feel the world is with you guys, or do you feel isolated? Or
yeah, we feel the support of the world for sure, and it moves us and it supports us a lot. That's true that there is no fly zone over Ukraine, and that NATO don't want to introduce it for different reasons.
Yes,
and I get it, totally get it. But still, world doing so much for our supports. They helping so much, and we feel it definitely. I think every major corporation now, every major company is doing something.
Yes.
Either by blocking Russia or by helping Ukraine with like help or donations, and some companies, they like entering Ukrainian market now. They showing support, like that. Elon Musk introduced Starlink internet over Ukraine.
Yes,
in 2 days. That was impossible to think of before. So the development of the Ukraine, I think it will be very, very fast after this, and yeah, we're looking for a good future.
Yes.
With this.
Well,
as you said, the support, yeah, we feel it, because my friends who in Europe who managed to escape, the women with children, they tell that like all Europe is like have Ukrainian flags everywhere, not only Poland.
Right, all over. Yes.
Yeah. Poland show the major support. We thankful very much for the people of Poland, but all countries, like my friend in Holland, in Netherlands, and there is a Ukrainian flags everywhere. They lead the buildings in Ukrainian flag colors. They help in Ukrainians, like they giving stuff. When they see the family with children, they try to gift toys, and
it's beautiful.
Pleasant.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm hopeful that this conversation will reach many artists, creatives, and we'll provide links in the show notes of this for ways that people can donate and different organizations. But Alex, I just want to send you so much love for you and your family and your friends, and just know that we're all here for you, thinking of you, and just really, really appreciate your time. And I just hope let's just stay connected, and we'll look back on this time as
Nicholas.
Just all right.
It's an honor for me, to talk to you. Thanks.
Okay, we'll be in touch. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Art2Life show. If you enjoyed the podcast, please help me get the word out by sharing it with your friends on Instagram at Art2Life_world. The recording of this and all episodes, along with a place to leave comments, see additional photos, and discover a whole new approach to making art, can be found by going to Art2Lifepodcast.com. And secondly, if you could leave a rating and review in whatever app you're listening on today, I would super, super appreciate it. It makes a big difference. And last but not least, before you go, if you'd like to be on my artist list, every Sunday morning I send out a video blog all about art making. Go to Art2Lifepodcast.com to sign up. And all these links are in the show notes, of course. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next week.